Running Gateway Propaganda Part 2. Okay. It's like a continuance on. See? This is an example of faith in continuance. Let's see. Well, I'm talking about for me. I'm not trying to. I ain't trying to post nothing on you. I'm just spreading the good news, spreading the information. Okay. Um. So, number one, I identified in the Roman Catholic Church a committee of cardinals, the Congregation for the Propagation of the Faith. So, of the congregation for the propagation of the faith. So that's to set in, to peg down, right? To peg down is just like when you want to, there's many words, fix something. That's a astrological aspect that we can look at, or, make something more earth-like, practical. Let me see how else, more solid, have more solidity, right? You want to solidify the faith. So that's how we spiritually make things solid. We all do, not just the church. But that's if you want to let the church take on that responsibility for you, right? Because you're putting your faith in them. We put our faith in these educational systems. We put our faith in this government, not recognizing that that's our choice that we make, and then we are submitting to these agreements, especially if we don't know what the agreement is, because there's two sides to an agreement, and it has to deal with contracts, because this is why contracts are very much important, and its stipulations this is how we form different agreements. And if we're not aware of what contracts are, and this goes deep, then we are considered food. Straight up. So let me see. Committee of Cardinals, the Congregation for the Propagation of Faith. Okay, in charge of the foreign missions. Okay, foreign missions. Now, do we know what foreign is? Okay, because there's many aspects in how to look at foreign, but usually foreign, if we break it down to its origin, its formation of the words, its spiritual essence, its well, not all of its spiritual essence, but we're breaking it down closer to the source of it. What is the word again? Damn, I just forgot the word. Okay, foreign. Okay, so foreign outs, that's anything that's from another location, and it's a noun. So person, place, or thing. So anything, person, or place that is outside of another location. So it's really one existence that's different from another, can be considered foreign. So foreign missions, okay? In charge of the foreign missions. So there was missions that took place, I guess, propagating, right, their information, their ideas, their belief systems. And once we look at the essence of this has to do with their beliefs, their theories, their science. All of that is a form of propagation. Their news, right? You don't own the news channel, so that the news channel is going to give you what they want you to see, right? That's their propaganda. They're being able to solidify them being in existence, them keeping on doing what they're doing is by their propagating. Businesses use this because in order to keep people, purchasing their products, right, they're giving a form of ideology for people to accept or not, and so much so we have Yelp reviews on whether we accept them or not. But propagation can be used in all forms of things, but usually it's identified in times of war, and this will be a good identification is times of war, because people aren't able to recognize times of war because we can't identify propaganda and how it's being used. And when propaganda is being used on a mass level, that usually is a signifier of a time of war. So, but there's different variations depending on how you see war and understanding these things. Because if we're not understanding how propaganda is used, then that is a form of manipulation. It can be a form of being manipulated, and and falling. If you don't stand for something, then you can fall for anything. Um, Especially not taking the time to dive deeper into things. And I can name many different forms of propaganda, especially when it comes to this pandemic and epidemic and Omicron, and I don't get no views no way. So this is for whenever who decides to see it, because I do. This is ridiculous. I ain't even up here for that. So it comes to all this nonsense that we have going on, that's mass propaganda on many different levels. Um, because it's damn near in every aspect of our lives. Like, you turn on your phone, you see COVID advertisements. You go to the store, you put on a mask. They got it shit blasting on the loudspeakers. You gotta go to a doctor's appointment. You gotta go take a test first, and then you go to the doctor's office. Whenever did you have to go take a test first before you go to the hospital, which is why we have hospitals in the first place, is to serve these needs. Then a lot of shit just don't be making sense, and making shit just extra hard to live ordinary life. They already making this shit is already ridiculous enough, and then people got all these different ideas and belief systems about what things are, and not able to see things for what they really are, and not being able to tell between propaganda and participating in belief systems, because they can't see the natural essence of life. And by meaning that is the same thing I said with these damn masks, thinking everybody should have a mask on. That is a belief system. Um, and I could say a belief system because once people start believing, they start operating from that. And that's why we have people talking on advertisement and news about who has a mask on and not, because people actually believe that. So that's how it's real and it's not. It exists and it doesn't. It's duality. They both exist at the same time, just depending on what perspective we take, right? Because things can be on and off, you know, just depending on how we look at it. But if we even choose to, or if we even know that we can. Oh, jeez. This shit is crazy out here. But anyways, let's see. Okay, so now I want to get in number 2. Any organization or movement, okay, any organization, which is just like a committee, anybody that comes in together, a group of beings or a group of things come in together in organization. So that means that they make a plan to do so. If we know about organizations, they come together for a purpose, right? Because that's a form of agreement. So this is a natural aspect of things. A natural aspect of nature is like attracts like, right? Um, let's see. Any organization or movement, a movement is just a significant same thing of an organization and movement, right? Because if a movement is coming together, it has a sense of force, and it usually has to do with more energy. Depending on the energy depends on the force, right? So working for the propagation of particular ideas, um, doctrines, right, or practices, and then etc. etc. That means many things, okay? But the main ways of identifying propaganda is through any organization or movement working for the propagation of particular ideas, doctrines, practices, etc. Okay, so for particular ideas, all political parties do that. They work together for their particular ideas, not necessarily everybody else's. We have to see that's where we got to see the difference. Okay, because that particular party, that top of the pyramid, that top of the corporation, or whatever it is, that top of the religion, okay, is going to do what they want to do. They may say, depending on the spirit, that's how you determine, but they may say that they are, but do we really know? And these are the things that we give and the people we give our faith to, who for some reason we, choose to believe that they have our best interest, but that's up for us to decide, right? And then we end up participating in these systems without understanding that it can be looked at that they're not necessarily here to serve us. If we can see their operations and how things, the type of fruit they are bearing, okay? And then we come to these conclusions and then get mad, but we don't do anything about the system. Uh, it's like going after the ants when you should be attacking the fruit bowl or whatever it is. Let's see. So, any organization or movement working for the propaganda for particular ideas, okay? So educational is a school is a form of propaganda, because they already have their particular ideas. They already have instructions. They have whole lesson plans, things that they past plans led down, a whole pipeline. There's a whole structural system program built, and we operate through programs and systems. That's just a natural aspect of life. Numbers are a representation of natural systems, okay? So this is just different ways of looking at life and the universe and spirit, the spirit of things. So particular ideas, doctrines, okay? So the educational system is definitely doctrines, right? Because they come up with their own form of education, what they believe to be real and not. And we already know there's a polarity, because what they say is real doesn't mean that's actually what it is, right? And we get to discover there's many aspects of how things have not been real about what they've been teaching. So, you know, that's still a form of propaganda. Is them pegging down, right? They have pegged down their system really tough, even though it's crumbling. But their systems of operation. And when we start to look at the systems that are thriving, we get a better understanding of that polarity of systems that are working. The church is doing very well for itself. I'm not necessarily talking about the ones that are in the communities. We could see the variation to where they have their own fucking city. So um and I don't necessarily think church has ever been strictly about just money. Money definitely serves a purpose, especially when you understand what money is, but they are thriving pretty well, and not necessarily the people in which it's supposed to be serving. And that's another aspect that should be looked at. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. So propaganda, at its root, at its source, at its essence, at its being, how to identify those energies is through the teaching of doctrines, in which doctrines are ideas. They're things that are being instructed, right? Instructed, that means it's a way of forming, shaping, right? Shaping a being, an individual. And these systems have been responsible for forming and shaping individuals, right? Especially when we recognize how we've been given our faith to them. So this is about us being able to form and shape ourselves, and how that's God right there, giving God's gift to us through our life, is being able to form and shape ourselves, and understanding that is our responsibility as well.